Chase the money, chase the money.
Welcome back to another episode of CTG, Chase the Game, where we chase the best games on this rainy, cold December 9th, Tuesday. We'll get right into it. So we'll start off with our little game we're playing, the prediction game. Obviously, I'm not seeing the field. 1-4, so not seeing the field. But you know who is? This boy Allan, 10-0 with all the bets that he has placed, that he's said on this show, have hit. All 10 of them. So if you guys aren't tailing his bets, I don't know what the hell you guys are doing. So let's get right into it. So obviously we'll start with the Cowboys versus the Lions. That was about a week ago on Thursday Night Football. I picked the Cowboys. Not sure really why, but I picked them. Obviously Adam and Nigel picked the Lions, and they got that first dub. So I'll let you go into it, Nigel. What kind of made you pick the Lions? How are you seeing the field?
I mean, I think, Chase, I think it just starts with us having an idea of what the Lions are going to be week in and week out versus the Cowboys. Now we're starting to see a little bit of the George Pickens, some of the bad of him. He's a dog, obviously, he's a fish catching dog. He goes up and gets the football. There's times when, he can be a little bit of a detriment to the team. And I think that what had them lose the game, but it's what people are talking about, so it definitely didn't help. Just kind of like I think what me and Adam agreed upon last week talking about this is just can't really trust the Cowboys yet in terms of what they do week in and week out, but we know how the Lions are going to play at home, and they take care of the football and just play their brand of ball.
Yeah, I know. I totally agree with you, and I mean the Lions came ready to play. What are you seeing, Adam?
Yeah, man. I agree. Home in Detroit, both teams are pretty much in the playoffs at this point, right? They got to win most of their games out. The Eagles falling on Monday, that kind of helps Dallas stay alive a little bit longer. Also, hearing talks, people coming for George Pickens' head. People are thinking maybe he needs to be investigated. There's some questionable low-effort plays coming out of him. What we haven't been seeing in the past, right? Typically, he's been taking over. Both high-powered offenses. I still don't look at either one of those teams, and I don't think the Lions are there yet as the Super Bowl team. They got to lock that defense down a little bit. They're kind of getting torched, and then that offensive PI there at the game was a little questionable too. That helped save Detroit. So, with all being said and done, Detroit big win in at home, but they still got to win a lot to get back into the playoffs here.
Yeah, and they don't have really much of an easy schedule, but I think, the Lions are on a roll right now. Oh, after that win, they should go on a roll. Back to the Pickens thing. I actually took Pickens for 70-plus passing yards. I think he got like 6 or 16, something like that. And that got me a little frustrated, but, it is
9
what
targets,
it is.
Chase, off of
9
targets, which is more than CD. CD only had 8 or 9.
Yeah, and CD was out that game. He got hurt, right?
Yeah, concussion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So had 121 though.
That's right, because he freaking bounced that head off that turf. I remember seeing that. I looked like it hurt. But we'll go right to Allan. I mean, I wrote down this bet that I didn't even recall. The Saints plus 3, I think, or was it plus cover the spread for plus 9. They got the dub against the Buccaneers, which is awesome. But it's like this man Allan is seeing the field. Like what give us what you're seeing, man. How are you seeing the field so much?
It's Vegas, man. So the biggest thing I've realized the past couple weeks, or not even couple weeks, throughout the entire NFL season, is just a lot of things haven't made sense. We've been seeing top-rated teams, top-ranked teams that were dominating last year, really losing to really bad teams. I mean, not to talk smack about our hometown team, but the Panthers are going crazy right now, right? And so they're beating teams like the Rams. They're beating teams like a lot of things just unexpectedly that shouldn't happen are happening. And for the first about 10 to 12 weeks of the season, I was picking favorites. I was picking the logical answer. I was picking things that were like, oh, this makes sense. This is going to hit, because typically, last season, and obviously just based off of data, that's what you tend to think is going to happen. But we've seen it's not happening. So I got to figure out where's the data going. I got to figure out where the numbers are going. I got to figure out why things are happening the way they are. And if you want to be a profitable, if you want to be a profitable player, you're going to want to figure out fairly quickly on how to make the profit, right? So what I did was just dive in deep what's happening, and what I've been seeing is the opposites happening of what is most expected. And then I try to dive deep and figure out, okay, what does that look like? And it looks like, if you see all the money on a certain team, or you see majority of it or on a spread or whatever the case may be, the opposite tends to happen. And it's been happening that for the entire NFL season. And so I just picked up that theory, and so the past couple weeks I've been trying it out, and it's been working out fairly well. So I'm going to keep doing it, see how well that continues. But typically, my first instinct was to go with favorites because, I mean, it made more logical sense. But again, we just haven't really been seeing more logic this season. So just got to go with what Vegas is more profitable on. To be honest with you,
I was holding my tongue as long as I could. I didn't want to, I didn't want to be that guy.
I know the Panthers.
What do you mean? What do you mean you didn't expect? What do you mean, Mr. Vegas? What do you want to make money? You got to take the plus. I mean, if I'm trying to make some money, why not? Allan, scary money don't make no money. We know this, baby.
And I get that. I get that, man. Like, but the thing is, Panthers have been between a plus 300 to plus 500 team against these ranked teams for the last 8 weeks, and they've been winning or covering their spread. So, that just raises the questions. I mean, I'm not picking the lines, but they come out plus 400 for a reason. They come out against a heavy hitting team at plus 550 for a reason, just because it's not expected, and they end up winning. Now, I'm not discrediting, Bryce. I'm not discrediting the Panthers. I'm not discrediting coaching. I'm not discrediting any of that. But it's just based on numbers, based on data, that should not happen. But obviously it is. So I want to be profitable. I stopped going based off logic. I'm going to follow the money, and it's been working so far. So we'll see what the numbers look like today.
Yeah. Based on logic, or not based on logic, no logic in this. But no, it's funny. I mean, I was trying to hold my tongue. I mean, if we're really gonna look back on that Panthers Rams game, that video we made before, I'm pretty sure none of us were picking the Panthers to win that game.
That's some money's involved.
The Rams were minus 450. The Rams were minus 450. So if you want to make just literally $100, you would have to put $450 just to make $100 on the Rams, and they still lost. So it's like, it's just crazy stuff like that. So when I see that consistently happen, I got to figure it out, or else I'm just going to go bankrupt, and I'm not doing that.
So Allan, let me ask you this. I feel like a lot of people have the same questions. Like, at some point, like, when does it get a little bit more like, not, I guess, F all the bad teams, like what finally gets a team over that hump so they won't be like 8 weeks in a row like the Panthers, for example?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing I've seen is like, when you can kind of go through favorites, or you can figure out like, what's more expected and it actually hits. I've seen more games that have a bigger slate, right? So when there's, 10 games on happening at the same time, that you can't really keep up with, trying to keep up with the favorites or underdogs, things like that. So when I see a lot of games going on at the same time, typically what you expect is going to happen typically happens. Now, when I see a big spread or a big money line, like a plus 400 team, just for example, the Colts, they're pretty high spread right now because of the injury with Daniel Jones, and I'm sure we'll cover all that stuff. But just looking at numbers, that's kind of telling. So when I see a high plus for a team, like a high underdog team, I just look at where the money's going, because at the end of the day, Vegas is a business. Gambling's a business. It's $1 billion business for a reason. And so if I really want to be profitable with these guys, I just got to figure out, the game too. I got to figure out the locks. Right. If you really want to lock things in though, like make it like lock in plays that's logical, I would definitely recommend making plays when there's a big team slate or there's a lot of games. Like for NBA, for example, if there's like 10 games, 12 games going on, you might have one or two underdogs win, but for the majority of the time, it might be the people that you would most expect, right? And same thing for NFL. But when it's days like Monday Night Football, Thursday Night Football, Sunday Night Football, when all eyes are only watching these games, typically it's going to teeter where the money is of something crazy happening. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, no. Obviously, you're seeing it now. Obviously, tune in for the second half for the predictions. Obviously, you want to hear what Allan has to say because this man is seeing the field. So we'll get moved on real quick to go the Steelers and Ravens. Obviously, Adam was the one that picked the Steelers. Me and Nigel picked the Ravens. They're in Baltimore. Crazy. Lamar Jackson. I don't know what's going on with him, but I'll let you kind of explain why you picked the Steelers, Adam, and kind of
Great call.
what yeah why'd you pick the Steelers? Yeah.
Shit, man, everybody's on Tomlin's head this past week. Talking about firing him and whatnot. I swear this man might be the greatest coach with keeping his job in the history of all coaches. What is he at Steelers? He's at like 18, 19 years. I may be off. You'll have to fact check.
Long time.
Yeah, exactly. And he's just good at keeping his job. All week we're hearing, and this goes back to what Allan's saying. I feel like the media, I'm not saying these rigged, kind of paint a picture in the opposite direction. All week we're hearing about how people are coming for his job. He might be getting fired, this and that. You hear stories about Tomlin. That dude apparently watches, film from midnight to midnight. Like, that man gets no sleep. And I think he knew it was a crucial game for them to make the playoffs. He took advantage of the Ravens being down, in these past few weeks. They had their peak and then they're starting to fade away now. And he took advantage of that. And even as like a coach that's as good as him, he can sit there and watch the games that the Ravens lost and see why they lost. And I think when you got a defense as strong as that and you got a veteran quarterback like Rodgers, if you have a simple game plan, you can stay alive and end up winning that game. So that's why I didn't really see it as much of a surprise. Not to mention Lamar's just been looking, he's been looking shaky. And when he's not playing well, that whole team falls down.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. I agree that they got all these weapons, but you were right on the money. 19 years for Mikey T. The Tomlin. It's crazy that my
Knowledge.
there it is. My buddy, my coworker Jack Bresnham, he still big Steelers fan, and he got a little pissed off at Mike Tomlin's little blow in the kiss from the Ravens because he's like, they were calling for his job and stuff last week, and I'm like, look, dude, you guys got a huge win in Baltimore, and I mean, he's basically like saying "F you" to the haters. So it was like, hey, look, I still got this. I'm still the man here, still running this program, and if they get things going, I don't know, Steelers find a way to win, find a way to make the playoffs. So, but we'll kind of move on for that one because it was a 1 p.m. game. We'll go to the 4 p.m. game where Adam and Nigel both picked the Packers to get the dub. I picked the Bears, so I got that L too. But I'll let Nigel take it off first. What kind of led you to pick the Packers, and how you see in the field?
I mean, like, I don't know. I kind of had the same mindset with the Packers and the Packers and the Ravens. Just like home field, cold, bad weather. You kind of trust, just kind of trust the home team in this situation and the crunch time of what we like to call the playoffs. But Packers played good. I think you gotta give some credit to the Bears as well. I think they're starting to really find their kind of niche and the way they're going to win. It's going to look a little bit different every single week, but for the most part, the Bears are they're a damn good team now. You always have to kind of be aware of them. They're not just, I think, a walk in the park anymore. But yeah, I think the Packers just at home, they're kind of just getting that Matt LaFleur playoff vibe going for them. It's getting crunch time. It's getting down to the point in the season where it's make or break it now. So I'm just kind of excited to see where this goes in terms of where they end up playoff seeding wise. But I think they have as good a shot as anybody in the NFC, especially if they can get a home field advantage with the playoffs. Quite frankly.
Yeah, I mean they're looking good. I mean, what about you, AJ? I know they let out a stat. Caleb Williams before the game, 58% completion rating, and I was like, damn, I wish I saw that before I picked them to win. The Bears defensive line, Michael Parsons and all that, they can put pressure on him, and Caleb Williams, he can do his thing, but you ain't completing passes, you ain't, winning games.
But I mean, and I don't want to cut you off, AJ, real quick, but that last pass, like that pick, like he was open. Like the guy was open. So go ahead, AJ.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, man, if I'm a Bears fan, I wouldn't be too upset right now. Caleb Williams is almost there. He's almost there, and like you said, Nigel, like that last one, it was open, and I think this is a good game for them to lose. Right? I know it's in the division, but they still have a really good record. I know they lost the 1 seed, but look, we got 4 more games left, 4 more weeks, so I mean, they got time to get that, get a good seed back. It's hard to win in Green Bay. And if they can finish out stronger than the Packers, that won't even be an issue. Playing in Green Bay won't even be an issue anymore. So I think we got a young head coach and a young quarterback like that. Sometimes it's good to lose a couple games right here at the end of the season because then it helps you kind of tweak things how they need to be tweaked. Like you said, Nigel, that Packers D line is nasty, right? And it's great experience for him to gain that. But I think it was a good game for both of them. I don't think anyone really took, even though the Bears took the actual L, I don't think anyone really took an L here. I think they're both going to end up making the playoffs.
Yeah, the score was only 28-21. It was a good game to watch, and obviously, Allan, Green Bay covers the spread again. Man, seeing the field, but we'll kind of jump to the next Sunday night football game, which was crazy. I got the dub on that one. Me and Allan picked the Texans, and I'm gonna start going. I know we kind of do it where Allan kind of goes picks after us, and I'm like, I wish he would pick before us because that would definitely affect my picks for sure. But it's a reason why we have it the way we do. But so I obviously picked the Texans because I think the Chiefs are not the Chiefs. They're not the Chiefs. They're losing all these games, and that the 1 point, like 1 point games, they're losing them all. And I don't know what needs to change. Patrick Mahomes is putting his body on the line. I mean, he's definitely running the ball and not stepping out of bounds. But I don't know. There's something going on with the Chiefs. I just don't think that they're right on the line of making the playoffs. But at the same time, Houston Texans defense is good. They're legit. I mean, they're winning them games. I mean, obviously the offense will come, but CJ Stroud and all that will come, but I just think that D line is. After I saw him against the Bills on Thursday night, sacking Josh Allen 8 times, I was like, oh shit, they're
Yeah.
legit, dude. Like this defense is legit. But obviously Allen picked the Texans as well. What kind of were you seeing as kind of the same thing with Vegas and everything?
Yeah, I mean, defense is going to win, right? I think they're rated number one in defense, number two right now. So if you look at the defense, they're going to do their thing. CJ Stroud's looking like he's his rookie season, not like last year. He's definitely looking like his first year. So he's ramping back up. And there is something going on with the Chiefs, man. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's Taylor Swift stopped going to the games. I couldn't tell you what it is. Maybe it's the black magic everyone talking about the Chiefs got is now gone. They used it all up. I have no idea, but there's just something going on over there in Kansas City, and I couldn't tell you what the answer is. But yeah, I mean, just looking at when picking out that play and picking out the Texans, just again looking at the numbers, but also looking at it from the back end too. I mean, the Texans had a lot of ramp, going their way. Their defense number one, number two right now, killing it. And again, CJ Stroud's looking dominant. Got some good people to throw to. Thing, so he's got his team around him. Chemistry looks like it's pretty good. They're ramping up, so you just got to look at things like that. I think a lot of times, when people were picking Kansas City, it was more based on like last year's results and, oh yeah, Kansas City, they got to pick it back up eventually. But I guess that eventually wasn't that game. I do think they come back, but it just obviously, unfortunately, wasn't that game. So you just got to look at everything from the outside perspective. Again, this season of NFL, you just can't look at it 100% logically. You got to add a little bit of Vegas sizzle in there too. So that's kind of how I looked at it.
Vegasism. There you go. I love it. Well, I got this stat here. Apparently, it's a little uncharted territory for Andy Reid. The Chiefs are below 500 through 13 games for the first time under Andy Reid. So, just looking back on last year, on their 12-0 one score record, and one-score games with their record, just losing 0 of them. Now they're winning none of them. So something's going on, and it needs to get changed, and maybe it's not going to get changed. Who knows? But we'll move on to Monday Night Football. What we got the Eagles versus the Chargers, and all three of us, me, Nigel, and Adam, all picked the Eagles to win. It wins to OT, so we weren't far off, right? But the beginning of that game looked brutal. I am not gonna lie.
I also didn't know Sully was playing linebacker, so that also I didn't know that was gonna happen. So that kind of if I would know Sully was playing linebacker, I would skew fix it.
Oh yeah, the Monsters University shit. Sully's been running all over the field, man. Oh, that's funny. So I mean, we'll go.
I think he got into Jalen Hurts' head a little bit.
Yeah, he was shook. My God, he was shook.
Dude, how many picks he throw? 3?
He threw like 3 twice.
He was knocking the door, bro.
Oh my gosh, no. Nah, but shit. Well, I mean, Allan's the only one that guessed this one. What made you go with Chargers? I know you're probably going to be repetitive, but I want to hear it because that's just insane, man. The Eagles need to get their shit together because something's going on over there.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, yes, Vegas, but also just a lot of insight, right? So just looking at them rounding up, ramping up to this game. I mean, they weren't doing so hot. They have a lot of bumping heads going on with the offense. A lot of coaching jobs, especially with the offense, is on the line, right? It's just not a good team chemistry right now. Even Saquon's not doing as good as he was last year. He only had about 5 touchdowns on the season. He just got his 6th on Monday. So it's just they're not doing as much. They're not really getting Jalen Hurts and the tush push going. As of late. And so there's just something off with the offensive team. And so you got to look at stuff like that. And so that's what I did. And then again, when I was explaining before about, Justin Herbert, he was kicked off the season on fire, man. And I just can't see him not continuing that or getting back to that. And so, him playing at home, had the momentum. And then I believe too, at the time they were like 4 and 5, they won their last 4 out of 5 games. So again, like they just had the momentum, you got a great QB, Justin Herbert, and so I just look at things like that. And I just, the offense for the Eagles, there's just something too much going on, not enough trades happening, not enough fixing happening. So I just had to do it. And then of course the numbers and the money was looking the opposite way of the Chargers, of course, but I look at the other side too. So that's really how I kind of picked that out, out of the whole thing.
Yeah, for sure, man. And Justin Herbert had surgery on Monday and got screws in his hand, and then he ended up playing. That's pretty tough, man.
Crazy.
I'm not gonna lie.
Crazy.
I think just listening to you talk
too.
Listen to you talk. I think that it's officially like we're done with that whole it's we're starting to transition to the new age of football. Chiefs aren't just beating everybody. They're not winning the ones. It's not a guarantee they're just going to win games. Eagles are kind of I think they were just a one-time thing anyway. They're a good team, but I don't think they're going to be consistent. It's almost like just a change. I feel like just in football and in sports now, it's starting to really be a lot of young people more than vets, and I think we're starting to see that now. It's a change of the guard in the NFL a little bit.
Yeah, I can see that happening, man. I mean, it's kind of crazy to think though, like as a defending Super Bowl champ, you guys are going to do something new. Like I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. What works for them, and it's like, yeah, you don't have to run the ball the entire game and give it to Barkley the entire game. You can dish it off to your star receivers. But to set up that offense, you should definitely run the ball. Have him elite. Like he did score like a little glimpse of the old Barkley, last year's Barkley, that little touchdown run. It wasn't a little touchdown run, but that was a little glimpse of it. He still got it, right? So it's like, why aren't we feeding him the ball and setting up, the offense? anyways,
Yeah, they
but
need to do it more. They need to do that more. I feel like if they do that more, just like you said, Chase, I think the Eagles can turn it around. I think, Jalen Hurts is trying to throw, but who is he throwing it to? He's just having a lot of bad throws, and it's like, hey, man, you might just need to run the ball, run it yourself, whatever the case may be, but you need to get back to the offense that you guys had last year and that won the Super Bowl. So, yeah, I don't know what's going on over there, but they got to figure it out.
they do, man. They do need to figure it out. Are they? Don't know, but we'll see. Well, that brings it down to the conclusion of the recap. I'll be right back. I'll go jump in the pond real quick, and I'll throw that video on there, and then when we come back, we'll get into the predictions with my boy Allan, and obviously we'll make our guesses. Right now, the score is I got the L 1-4. Adam is 3-2, and Nigel is 2-3. So Adam and Allan are seeing the field. Me and Nigel, he got more than me, so
Yeah.
I'm really
I'll
not
take
seeing the
it. I'll
field.
take it. I'll take it.
He's not last. I'm last.
I'm not gonna be wet. I'm not gonna be wet.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll get. I'll catch y'all later on the flip, and then we'll get this going. All right.
Okay, phone's rolling. It's pouring, it's freezing, but we're doing it. Straight into the pond. Here we go. Oh, that's cold. That is so cold. I can't feel my legs. That is freezing.
Yo. All right. Got back from that little cold plunge action. Yeah, it was frigid out there. Let's see, what is the temperature? I don't even know what the temperature is. I didn't look because I was just hustling. 36 degrees. Oh.
That's what your cold ass gets for those cold ass takes.
Get hot.
Got the jokes. Be careful, I'm gonna get hot now. No. All right, well, we've got we've got some good games coming up for us. Big time for the Panthers, for our Carolina Panthers, because the Bucks just lost to the Saints. So big game for the Panthers against the Saints. If we get this dub, we can climb up to the top of the division. That's what we need right now. So I'll get right into it. We'll start with Nigel. What is your predictions on the Panthers versus the Saints? No, we won't do predictions on that. We'll do your thoughts on the Panthers, because we all want the fucking Panthers to win. I'm gonna pick the Panthers.
I don't
to win.
care if it's overtime, triple overtime, no overtime. As long as it's not a tie and a loss, we need a win. I don't care how it looks. I don't care if we got to play the cheerleaders in the game. We need a win. That's it. I don't care what it looks like. We just need it.
Facts.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree, man. I definitely agree. Now, AJ, I remember you saying a couple weeks ago we played to our opponent's levels. We played to our opponent's level with the Rams. We played to the Rams level. We beat them. Now, are we gonna play to the Saints level and lose, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, so here's the bottom line. Playing right after if we would have played right after the Rams, I think that would have been great just because the momentum's rolling, right? I don't think the bye week hurt our momentum. I think it actually helped with injuries because we were battling with a little bit of injuries. Us guys that, have been on teams, it's college level, and this isn't college level, but we've had those meetings. We know exactly what went down these past 2 weeks. They're watching all the plays where they lost the opportunities to beat the Saints, and they're watching all the bad plays, and then they're going over at the same time what they did wrong that week before playing them that made them come out and shit the bed against the Saints. I know it's in New Orleans. I know they just came off playing the Bucks. I think with 2 weeks of prepping for it, with the momentum from seeing the Bucks lose this week and seeing that we have life and we can really control our own destiny here, I think the boys come to play. Now, I don't know about y'all. Every time I get high on this team, they let me down. So I don't even know if I'm going to put money on this game. I don't even think I can.
Yeah, Adam. I was just thinking about putting money on it, and that we have not won back-to-back games since we beat the Dolphins, the Cowboys, and the Jets.
Yeah.
We've lost to the Bills, beat the Packers, lost to the Saints, beat the Falcons, lost to the Niners, beat the Rams. Science would say, Vegas would say, Allan, Vegas would say, it's probably going to be a loss. But God's in Carolina this weekend.
Yeah. I mean, playing in New Orleans is always tough. But I think the Saints is a team we can go 1-1 with. Let's control our destiny here. I think fuel to the fire gets even added even more if the Falcons win Thursday. The fact that we get to see that game before our game, I think that's gonna up the urgency. The urgency's there though. The boys see that they can make the playoffs, and as a Carolina Panther fan, if we can just make the playoffs, man, that's all I'm asking. I don't care if we get beat in the wild card. I just want to see us in the postseason. I'm tired of being the laughing stock of the league.
Me too, AJ. Me too, man. Allan, what are they looking like? Do you got the spread and stuff pulled up for the information for the Panthers game?
Yeah, I gotcha. All right, so the Panthers are the favorites. Panthers are favorites.
Oh,
they're
boy.
minus 140. Their spread's looking at like -2, -2.5. Some sports book you can find like -3. So it's in Carolina's favor, right? Contrary, thinking about everything with Bryce Young, McMillan, like there's just a lot of ramp up to the Panthers. So I don't blame people for going towards the Panthers, looking at them winning. But Nigel brings up a good point. If you look at pattern and you look at the data, and that's what I try to go based off is just data, is that, win, lose. Trajectory says it's about that time for the Lose to come back in the streak. But, I will say they are the favorites. It's not impossible for them to win. And I can definitely dive deep into the numbers. So, we have 87% of the money on the Panthers. 87% of the money is on the Panthers. So they have no they have no hope in the Saints while the Saints are at home. And keep in mind, when the teams are at home, they get that extra 2.5 to 3.5 spread. And right here, they have the Panthers at -2. So they think that New Orleans is going to lose by around 3, 4, maybe 5-ish around there. And so it's a toss-up, right? It's a toss-up. I can understand completely why everyone's going for the Panthers. They got great momentum. Bryce Young is looking peak. Great receivers. Dowdle's doing his thing. I can't see, logically it makes sense. And so we got 87% of the money on Panthers. We got 72% of the money on the Panthers spread. And we got a pretty high percentage on the total. So they expect this game to go over 44. I believe it's 44. Let me triple check. No, it's 40.5. So they think it's going to be a high scoring game, which I could see that being a high scoring game as well. Just because, it's just two teams that could probably trade touchdowns or trade at least high field goals. So I can't see it not being high scoring. We'll see what happens, but yeah, that's the layout for that. So I'll let you guys go based off of what you think is going to happen based on that information. But you guys already know my thoughts. So yeah.
Well, I don't want you to put anything in the universe, so we're not going to guess on that one. We want the Panthers to win.
21-20, 21-20. That's not coming.
Oh man. Oh gosh. Well, we'll go to the next game that we're going to be keeping a close eye on. This is when we will start the bet, the competition. We'll go 5 games. We're going to guess the predictions of the Thursday night football game, the 1 p.m. game, Bills versus Pats, the 4 p.m. game, Lions versus Rams, and then we'll go Sunday night football, Vikings versus Cowboys, Monday night football, Dolphins versus Steelers. So we'll start with the really important game, Falcons versus Bucks. Obviously, Falcons need to get this dub here so we can kind of get some momentum going into this Saints game. But the Bucks coming off a loss, I don't know how Baker's going to play. I'll let Adam start with this one. What are your thoughts and what are your predictions?
Well, if Baker turns it up this week, I'm going to be pissed because he made me fall out of the playoffs in fantasy. So,
oh, no.
Which timing wise is probably going to happen. I agree with you. I think the Bucks are going to come a little pissed off. As much as I would love to see the Falcons win, it's just hard to see it. But I'm trying to put my Allan hat on right here. Thursday night, prime time. Majority's going to go. We don't even know the spread yet, but I guarantee the spread is probably 2.5, 3.5 bucks. I think majority is going to think the Bucks are going to turn it around this game. I see the Empire continue to fall. I'm going to go with the Falcons winning this game, and I can see them winning by 3, like a 24-20 type game.
24-20.
Or 24-21, that's not 3. My math was off.
24-21 Falcons.
Yep.
All right, AJ. All right, Nigel, take it away. What you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it would be nice in the world where the Falcons do win this game, but you know what? I don't hate AJ's pick of the Falcons here, but I think it's just sad to kind of say it. I think this is one of those games where Baker kind of shows his ass. I think he has a decent game here. Falcons are kind of real in the sense of they don't know really what they're going to look like in the next 2-3 years. So we have to go Bucks 28-20.
Okay, Bucks 28-20, you said? Win by 8. Okay. I mean, this is a tough one. I mean, I really think the Bucks could really pull it off. They're gonna come in here and, I mean, Baker's gonna sling the ball. At the same time, you know, I think the Falcons will walk away with the dub because of the money. What Allan's been suggesting, I think, to my knowledge, most people want the Bucks or thinks the Bucks is gonna win, and so then I'm gonna go with the Falcons. I'm gonna go 28-33. Falcons get the dub. All right, Allan. What is really gonna happen?
I couldn't tell you. I mean, look, I know the record is undefeated at the moment, but at the end of the day, it's gambling. Just trying to go based off data, and we'll let the chips lay where they do. But looking at the numbers, so right now you guys are all right. Bucks are the favorites of this game, and then we have the Atlanta Falcons. They are plus 200 right now. So the last couple days they've gone from like plus 175, plus 180 to now they jumped up to about plus 204. So it's moving and continuously moving towards the Bucks right now, where it's kind of expected to win, just based on what everyone's saying. Baker Mayfield. Look, he came out this season like slinging that thing, and he was killing it. He was even in top 5 talks for MVP, and then he just kind of started shitting the bed. They started losing and lost all that momentum. You also got to remember too, I believe this is the week where Mike Evans comes back, if I'm not mistaken. So that's going to be a game changer for him. That's another target for him. I think Baker does go off. I think he continues to, not continues, but I think he ramps that momentum back, and he might be pissed off too. I know last year when he was going against a couple people, and he wanted to show out, he did. So I think he prevails, and he really goes off. But again, let's look at the numbers and see what the numbers say, right? So yeah, Tampa Bay is the favorites. Their spread right now is minus 3.5. There's some apps favoring it around minus 4.5, minus 5. It looks like it's gonna creep up. I think when Thursday comes, if I were to pick, I believe it's probably gonna be around minus 5.5, minus 6. When Thursday comes around. If that's just kind of my prediction there. And then we have the total at 44. So over under that 44. Some apps are looking at 45. So it's teetering around there. So let's see where the money is. And go based on that.
Hey, Allan.
Yeah, what's up?
I know that we're talking about the Falcons and the Bucks here, but how do you think Michael Penix not being in the game affects the line? Much or by any?
That will affect it. No, that will affect it, right? That's probably where the spread's coming into play, right? That's where the spread is fluctuating because again, around yesterday the spread was about minus 2.5, minus 3, where now it's looked like it's moving up to minus 5. So in just a couple days, it's starting to change, and it's starting to change fairly quickly. That's why I said around Thursday night it's probably gonna be around 5.5 to 6. So about a touchdown Bucks. In my opinion. So that does play a lot. Definitely plays a lot. But we got the money right now. 78% of the money's on Tampa Bay. But I will say one thing right now. So, again, Bucks are the favorites, the minus 225 to win. one of the biggest things to look at right now is the spread. So 67% of the money is on the Falcons to cover the spread. Cover that 4.5, cover 5.5, depending on where it goes. And I think the higher it goes, more people are going to hammer that spread. So that's something to keep in mind. And then we have the total, again, over that 444. I think a couple days has been 43.5 or so, or 45. A lot of people have the over. So they think it's going to be a high-scoring game. Can't see how it's not, especially if, Mike Evans coming back. Baker Mayfield's going to be throwing it like he was in the beginning of the season. I can definitely see it. My prediction, just based off of the numbers and looking at everything, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I think, one, Tampa Bay's winning. But two, I think the best play, to be honest with you, if I were a betting man, and I am, is going to be -4.5. -4.5 is going to be the play. -4.5, Tampa Bay. And if I were to pick a score, this is just off speculation. I don't think I picked a score yet, even in the last episode. But if I were to guess, I think it's going to be 34-10, Tampa Bay. And I think they're going to go under the total. I think they're going to land right on the total, which, again, the total right now is 44.5. I think they land right on 44 or land around 40. But I think the Tampa Bay wins by about 15 plus or 20 plus. I think they dominate. I think they smoke them.
Okay,
That's just
Kirk
looking
Cousins,
at the numbers.
man.
Yeah.
Cousin, I need them freaking lighten up.
Yeah. Hope you're
Let's
wrong.
go.
Going based on the numbers. On the numbers.
Oh man, damn, 34-10. That's probably gonna happen. But we'll tune in Thursday night. All right, so we'll jump to the 1 p.m. game, the Bills versus the Pats. Now, this is a big game for the Bills. Need a win, but Pats, first team to 11 wins to the season. Drake May's got it going on over there. So I'll let Nigel jump into this one first. What is your predictions and what do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, I think you got to give, the Bills some credit. Well, not some credit. You got to give the Bills a lot of credit for how they won last week's game. I am curious to see how they carry over from that dogfight, playing against a team like the Bengals, again like that. I like Josh Allen. Drake May's a dog. You kind of can't really go wrong here, I'd say, but Patriots are at home. This kid eerily reminds me of a young Tom Brady. I'm going to have to go Patriots 28. Let's go Buffalo 17.
Okay, I like it. It's a tough one for the Bills, but, it is what it is. So I guess I'll jump into this one next. I think it is, the Bills need to get it together and they need to win this one. I don't think they're going to. I think the Pats are going to win this one. I think it will be a high-scoring game. I don't know what the over is and everything, but I think whatever it is, I think it will be over. I don't know. It's a 1 p.m. game. I think they're going to smoke the Bills. The Bills, last time watching them, I just go back to that Houston game. It's like they couldn't get anything going. And, Josh Allen is a beast. He can only do so much, though, just like Patty Mahomes and the Chiefs. Patty Mahomes is talked about like Tom Brady, but you got to have a whole team. You got to have a good defense. You got to have a good offense, too, as well. Even great offense, mostly defense. But I think the Pats walk away with this one, and I think I'll go. I know I did the 33-28. I like that number. I like those numbers. But I'm gonna go 33. Or no, I'm gonna go 28-21. Pats. That's my prediction. I'll let AJ jump into it. What you thinking?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to roll with you here, Chase. The Bills have just struggled against good defenses. So from what we've seen so far, it is in New England. The Patriots are rolling. It's a tough one. I could see it going either way because it's a must-win for the Bills. But divisional game, everyone's going to take seriously. I also see it being a little lower score. So I'm gonna go. Let's go 21, 21-17 Patriots.
21-17 Pats. I gotcha. Okay. All right, Allan, I'll let you get into what's actually going to happen, the spread, the over/under,
Yeah,
all that good
let's
stuff.
let's take a look. So, obviously, well, not obviously, you know, you guys, this is a tough call. This is completely a tough call. Even I'm getting stumped. It really toss up on my end. I will say the Bills are the favorites. You know, sitting at -110. New England at home +100. You know, they're at home again. Keep in mind they get an extra, 2.5 to 3 points being at home. And so the spread right now is Buffalo. To cover a -1.5. So it's a toss up, man. It's a toss up. Not really much to work with here. And then the total, like you guys said, it's a pretty high total, 49.5. So they expect both teams to score. I think the reason for that is because, New England, Drake May's been getting so many touchdowns. He's been killing it, hitting to the right people. When he throws, it just lands perfectly in all the wide receivers' hands. So, they're just getting a lot of touchdowns. And I think, like what you guys are saying as well, with the Bills, they have to win. So, just like last game, where they were down a couple, but they came back. They're gonna have to score a lot. They're gonna have to score a lot, and New England already scores a lot too. So I can understand completely why it's a very high total. But let's look at the numbers. So the money line itself, it's honestly almost a 50-50 split. I will say Bills are a little bit more favorites. They're sitting at 56% on the money line for the Bills. But again, things can fluctuate. It's super early. We have about a good 5 to 6 days before Sunday, so things can always change. Things can get updated. People can get injured during practice. Who knows? Not wishing ill on anyone, but anything can happen. But currently, it's Bills are the favorites. The spread right now is Bills to cover. So again, but it's 50%. It's literally right on the dot of 50%. So it's super close. It's a hard one to read. This one is more of a gut feeling here, to kind of just go based off of. So, where I got to look at, if I'm going to make a play, where I got to look at is going to be the total. So the over under. Just like Chase said, I think, a lot of people are going with that over right now. 60% of the money is on the over. So a lot of people think they're going to go over that 49.5. That's probably where I'm going to stay away from, or like that's where I probably put a lot of my money on, staying away from the over. I'm going to go with Adam and pick the under. That's probably my favorite play in this game. Now, if I have to pick a winner of this game, that's a good question. It's really a toss up. If I were to do something, I would honestly say Patriots +3.5. I can see them losing, and they may lose, but I think it's by a field goal. It's gonna be super close. I think they lose. I think the Bills take it, but it's only by a field goal. So I would probably do an alt spread with Patriots +3.5. I think they do cover at least by a field goal, and call it a night. And we'll honestly see what happens from there. But that's my prediction for that game. That one's it's tough. That's tough to predict.
Oh boy, Allan, you got me not feeling so confident on my picks. But hey, it is what it is. You guys tune in. Bet Leveling. Him and his boy cover everything bets, NBA. His boy covers NFL as well, but he's got some NBA bets going in on that, and you guys tune in to make some money with the NBA. Now, you're saying Pats +3.5. Okay. All right. And you said you're taking the under instead of the over. Okay. I like it.
That would be my
I
favorite
like it.
prop of that game.
Okay.
But if I have
All
to
right.
pick a money line or spread, I'm going New England +3.5.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. Well, you heard it here, folks. All right. Let's jump into the Lions versus Rams. So that's the 4 p.m. game. Other than the Panthers versus Saints, I'll be tuning into the Panthers versus Saints, but I'll also be watching the Rams and Rams. Yeah, Rams and Lions. Now I know the Rams obviously lost to the Panthers, but I don't know. I mean, I think the Rams are still the Rams, and the Lions need to get stuff going. I'm not sure where the money is at on this game, where we're going with, but I'm going to say the score first, and then I'll say who I'm thinking is. I'm going to say the score 24-21. I don't know why. This number popped in my head, so I'm going to go with that. Now, on who is going to take the dub, I think the Rams are going to do it. I think the Lions are going to come ready to play, but I just think the Lions are going to lose from big plays. And coming in when Matthew Stafford drives and the Rams drive down the field, get into that red zone and just dish it off to Devontae. I mean, get down there with Puka, but then touchdown with Devontae. I think that's going to happen a few times that game. So I'm going to take the Rams 24-21. Adam, what are you thinking? I'll jump over to you.
This one's a toss up. Just shoot, man. I just want to be different here. I'm gonna take the Lions just to compete with you. But I can see it going either way. Rams. It's gonna be a high scoring game, I think, and I'm sure the over under is pretty high because they're both powerful offenses. So with that being said, I'm sure a lot of people are going to go with the over, and I guess I just am here. It's a 1:00. Like Allan was saying earlier in the show, the 1:00s can typically go how you would expect. It's not that prime time where we need to be picking against the crowd. So I'm going to say let's go 34-31 Detroit in the
31,
shootout.
you said 31-34?
Yeah, so 34-31 Detroit. Potentially overtime.
Like it. You threw in overtime too, huh?
I said potentially.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'll throw that OT too. All right, Nigel, what you thinking?
Well, no, both of you have some really spot on arguments about, the reasons for why you chose the things that you chose and the reasons why you chose what you chose for the reasons. But the reason that I'm going to choose why I choose for the reason that I'm going to choose is, I don't know. I'm looking at stats here, eerily similar between both quarterbacks. Matthew Stafford's obviously just chucking it around the yard this year. I think the Lions get some momentum off of last week, ride this in, going on the road, still in the dome. So I think it's really going to be business as usual for them. I like the Lions 30-27 here. Give me Detroit and LA.
30-27 Lions. Okay. All right, Allan, you heard our predictions. Now tell us what's going on.
Yeah, so Rams are extreme favorites here. They're minus 225. They're minus 245. The Lions are plus 225. So Lions extreme underdogs here. Extreme underdogs. I think with the Panthers beating the Rams, coming off that, I think Matthew Stafford has a response, and I think he makes that response this week. I think he shows why he should be in the top MVP talks, and I think he's going to show why he's going to push for the Super Bowl. I think they have a really good contender to go, or real good contenders to go all the way. So I think that game's going to show that, and I think a lot of times, people will be banking off the Lions to gain momentum, but just looking at their last, their last 5 to 6 games this season, they haven't looked the best. They looked the best against the Cowboys, but I mean, if you think about it, the Cowboys, they won a couple games. Every time we think a team's going to gain momentum, they'll eventually drop it depending on who they go against. So I think this game, it's going to be one of those. I think Matthew Stafford and Puka and Devontae, they do their thing. But let's look at where the numbers go, right? So again, Rams huge favorites. The spread right now is sitting at plus 6.5 for the Lions. So literally, they think they're going to win by a touchdown or more. And with the Rams being at home, they get an extra 2 to 3 points. Again, remember that. So realistically, they think that the Rams will win by around 3.5, maybe by a field goal. So like 2.5, 3.5. But they gave them an extra 2 to 3 points just because they're at home. So maybe it could be a little bit more. And then it is a very high scoring game, probably one of the highest of the days. It's 54.5. It was at 55.5 yesterday, so it went down today.
But I wouldn't really think much of that. I think it's just because of where the money is. And so honestly, let's just dive into the numbers. So, 82% of the money's on the Rams. Makes sense. The big favorites, they're at home. They're coming off a loss for the Panthers, man. That's just crazy to me still to think about, but they are. And so, they got to make
Not
a
that
statement
crazy.
and show them. Yeah, I understand, but it's crazy to me. And then we also have the spread right now. A lot of people it's like 50-50. The money is on the Rams to cover this spread. So that minus, 6.5. I think it was minus 5.5 the other day. So, a lot of people were probably picking that minus 5.5. So they think the Rams going to win by a touchdown. That's where most of the money is. And then the total, they think that the over is going to get nuked, absolutely murdered. So right now, 96% of the money is on the over for this game. So that tells me that's probably where I'm going to keep my eye at. I think it's probably going to go under. I think it's probably going to be under 54.5 is my prediction for this game. But if I were to pick something for this game, I'm going to stay away from money lines because there's just not enough juice. I do think the Rams win. I absolutely think the Rams win. They're not losing this game. But I do think the Lions do cover. I think they cover. I think they can cover a plus 6.5. Just based on the money. That's just where it looks like. So, the way I look at this is the Rams are minus 225, right? So if you want to make 100, you want to make a profit, you'd have to basically put $225 down. Okay. If you go based on the spread at minus 5.5 is minus 110. So that's where you'd really make the most money, right? So you put minus 110 paired with something else, you can make a pretty good penny, pretty good profit. So where Vegas would probably make the most money is where the Lions cover, because it's not necessarily saying that the Rams can win, because they don't have to really pay out that much if the Rams win. Where they would really have to pay out people is if the Lions cover the spread and they win, because of how much the Lions have as the plus money. They're plus 240. The Lions win, they're going to be cashing out like crazy. So I look at stuff like that. But if the Lions cover, obviously it's going to be a cash out, but it's not going to be anything crazy, right? So I'm looking at stuff like that. I would say Detroit covers plus 6.5. I think they may win about 4 or 5. I think it is going to be high scoring. If I were to pick a score, I'm terrible at this, but if I were to say something, it'll probably be around maybe 24-20 Rams. Yeah, 24-20.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Around there.
Picked,
I think it's like 44.
21. So
yeah. So but I definitely say Rams are winning this game for sure.
I think this comes down to, can the Lions stop the damn Rams in the red zone? They can stop them in the red zone. We got a ball. They just let them go down there and go fades to Tay all day. It's gonna be
for sure.
That's gonna happen, man. I think that's gonna happen. But so speaking of quarterback throwing phase, I mean, we'll go right into Dak Prescott and the Cowgirls and versus the Vikings on Sunday Night Football. We'll go. Who are we gonna start with? We'll start with AJ. What you thinking?
Must win, primetime, Cowboys, 21-10. I don't know. Vikings don't impress me, so I think they're kind of licking their wounds and planning their vacations for the end of the year. So I think America would like to make it interesting and have the Cowboys win and have them creeping up on the Eagles. So I see them pulling it off in primetime, even though that might be not where the money's going. But that's just what I'm going to go with. 21-10.
Okay, 21-10 Cowgirls. All right, I like it. I mean, that's a prediction, man. I was thinking kind of along those lines, but I'll let, before I get into it, I'll let Nigel jump into it. What you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, Adam could have just basically just spoken for me in this sense. We kind of, I don't know. It's the Cowboys are the Cowboys, but the Vikings are the fucking Vikings, and the Vikings, I don't like the Vikings. That's bad ball. So Cowboys are at home. I like the Cowboys 27. The Vikings here. Let's go 14.
Say that score again for me.
I would go Cowboys 27, Vikings 14 here.
27-14. Okay.
Which I feel like
A
following
little
out
bit of,
here, we might be wrong. I just cannot see. I cannot see the Vikings unless it's like a spread thing. I haven't looked at the spread numbers because we're not supposed to before we guess. I just don't
yeah.
see a money line.
Yeah. No, I agree. I can't see it, but I will kind of go off Mr. 10-0 over here where he's been talking about logic out the window. So I'm like, you know what would be insane? Sunday Night Football, Vikings beating the Cowboys. That would be crazy. That would be logic out the window. So I'm doing it. I'm going to be the one. I'm thinking Vikings take the dub. I think it's a close one. I think Dak gets hurt. That's what happens. That's the stick.
Whoa.
Dak gets hurt, but not like trying to. Okay, I take that out. I don't want anybody wishing anybody to get hurt. Nobody get hurt. But I think that's what's going to happen is he gets pulled out maybe for a play or two.
We're definitely keeping that in, by the way.
Yeah, you ain't cutting that
Yeah,
out.
for sure. No, for sure. But I hope that doesn't happen. I hope I didn't speak it into the universe because that's an awful thing to do. But I just think just explaining to you my thought process on what's going to happen is and what needs to happen if the Vikings are going to win something like that. A star player comes out to where they run away with it. Now, the score, I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think George Pickens screwed me over the 70-plus rushing or receiving yards. So I'm betting against him. I'm going to go 14-10 Vikings. That's my prediction. All right, Allan, what's actually going to happen?
Yeah, I might be with you guys here. You might be surprised here. So Dallas is the favorites, sitting at minus 270. It's a high favorite, very high favorite. The money line here was Minnesota at minus or at plus 240. I will say it went down a little bit, nothing crazy, but it's now plus 235. So it went down there a little bit. They are at plus 6.5 to cover, so pretty much same thing as Detroit Lions. And then it does look like it's going to be a pretty low scoring game. So it's sitting at 48, still high scoring. The 48 is still high. That's like, both teams getting 24. That's still pretty high. But everyone is on the under as well. So I agree with you guys completely. In fact, too, when it comes to the total, it was 48 yesterday. It just dropped down to 47.5. So, I can definitely see it being a pretty low scoring game as well, just based off of the numbers and seeing where the lines are moving. But right now, just to see where the money is, we got Dallas at 78%. 78% of the money is on Dallas to win, and get that for the Sunday Night Football. And then we have Dallas to cover the spread. So they think, majority of the money is on Dallas to go over that minus 6.5. So, that's where it is. And then we also have, dang, man, that's a lot. So we have 72% of the money on the under. So that's probably where I would, again, hammer maybe the over. I think this game here to be on the lookout for, I think it's going to be in either George Pickens showdown and a Justin Jefferson showdown, or a CeeDee Lamb and a Justin Jefferson showdown. I genuinely think Justin Jefferson's going to go and have a field day. I think he's going to have a field day.
I'm so glad you brought that up because as long as Nine's back there playing quarterback, Jay Jettis don't get the ball. So Jordan Addison might have a day, but I don't know. I ain't been seeing nothing from Jay Jettis this year, so I'd love to challenge you on that. I'm taking Justin Jefferson's under in yards, baby.
Yeah, take it. Take it. You might lose money, but I think he has a great game. I think it's going to be a showdown. To be honest with you, looking at the last 5 games, right? I mean, they just beat Washington 31-0. Dallas just lost, to Detroit 44-30, lost by 14. But before that, they won 3 straight. So, all the momentum's riding on Dallas. It makes sense why they should win. But if I want to go against a team and I want to go against the grain and go against the money, it's Saturday Night Football. That's where all eyes are. No other games playing. All the money's going to be going in and out of this game when it starts to come up and ramp up. I don't know if they win the Vikings, but I can see them covering. Because if they cover, Vegas would still make pretty good coin. Actually, really good coin. I think if it goes over and Vikings cover, I think that's probably the best play just looking at the numbers. I can't see Dallas losing. If they lose, it'd be crazy to see. But I'm still going to just go with the spread for this game. So I think Vikings cover just based off of the money.
Okay. All right.
Fair enough.
I've been jumping onto the betting app when Allan has been putting the bet in, so I've been throwing the bets as he's giving them to me. And I'm not missing out on this one.
Favorite play, Lions plus 6.5, Vikings plus 6.5. Call it a day.
I threw in the over, too, for the Lions and Rams game. Or under, under. Because you were saying
game?
under. For the Lions and the Rams.
Lions, Rams. Gotcha.
Yeah. All right, so we'll jump into the Dolphins and Steelers game. We'll kind of power through this one. I know kind of running out of time here, but Monday Night Football, Dolphins, Steelers. Dolphins, before I get into it, I'll let Nigel kind of go speak on it first and kind of put your predictions in and what are you thinking is going to happen?
Dolphins, Steelers. Is the game? Where's this game at? Home or away for who, Chase? So that's going to determine a lot.
Steelers in Pittsburgh.
Steelers 28, Dolphins. Let's get weird. Steelers 28, Dolphins 13.
13 for the Fins. So Steelers obviously taking the dub. All right, Adam, what's your thoughts and predictions?
Yeah, I'm riding with Nigel here. Miami up in the cold, Pittsburgh weather. Let's go 23 Pittsburgh, Miami 7. I think I'm going to bed at halftime because I'm bored.
Damn. Well, I love to go against you guys, but I can't. I want the Steelers to actually win this one too. So, not betting as a fan, but I am a fan of the Steelers. But I think they're going to definitely get the dub. I can't see them not beating the Dolphins. I know the Dolphins are still fighting, but I don't know. I think they're a little checked out. I know that running back, what's his name? I can't even think of his name. I got him on my fantasy too. I can't even pronounce it honestly.
Warren?
A check or
H-M,
whatever.
yeah, the H-M belt.
Yeah. So I don't think he'll do as much, but I think he'll keep him in the game. I like the 23-7. I'm not going to do the same score. I'll probably do Dolphins score 10 points to the Steelers. Let's go 21. 21-10 Steelers. Take the dub. All right, Allan. What are we looking like over there?
Yeah, so this game's interesting. We got, of course, Pittsburgh is the favorites. Makes sense. Minus 175. Miami is plus 160. It's pretty good. It's pretty close, right? Like, people can make some good coin no matter which way it teeters. They got the Miami pretty close when it comes down to the spread. They got them at plus 4. So that's a good one there, plus 4. And then, so they think that Pittsburgh's going to win by 4 more. And again, keep in mind that extra 2 to 3 points. So realistically, they really think that Miami can cover about a 1.2 point spread. So they think it's going to be a very close game. And then the total is sitting at 42.5. It looked like it went down. It might be around 41 now. So it's going down a little bit. But probably out of all the games we discussed, this is the lowest scoring game. So that's something to keep in mind. I think I'm with Adam on this, where this might be a boring game, to be honest with you. It's probably going to be a pretty boring game. Not really much to watch. But let's look at where the numbers are, right? Let's look at where the coin is. So we have 79% of the money on Pittsburgh. So that's going to be one thing to look at. But again, they're minus 175. So, even though all the money's there because of the odds, they're not, Vegas wouldn't have to pay out like crazy, right? So that's something to think about. And I will say the Miami, their spread right now is plus 4, and 53 to 54% of the money is on the spread. So people think that, the Miami covers this game. And I'm thinking back at the Dolphins. I was like, don't the Dolphins suck? But I looked at their last 5 games, they won their last 4 out of 5. They got momentum.
Yeah.
I guess everyone heard, people talking shit about Tua. I guess he wanted to step up, right? But let's just take a look at the last people they played. They played the Jets, terrible. They played the Saints, They played Washington, no Jaden. And they played the Bills. How they got to win over the Bills, that's just crazy to me. I forget about that. But, and then they lost to the Baltimore Ravens, in the 5 weeks ago. So I think a lot of people are riding the spread for the Dolphins just based on the last 5 games. To be honest with you, Steelers going to take it away, and I think the Steelers cover. I honestly think it's going to be a very low-scoring game. I honestly think Miami either doesn't get a touchdown or only gets 1 touchdown. That's my prediction. And the reason why I say that is because the majority of the money is on the over for this game. So it's sitting at 77% of the people are on the over.
What's the over-under again?
So it's at 41.
Wow.
41 now, but it was 42.5.
So you're saying
42.5.
Steelers are going to cover.
Steelers
and
covering.
Miami might not even score a touchdown.
That's my prediction. That's my
Okay.
prediction. So I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think it's going to go under. But I definitely think that Pittsburgh Steelers, they're gonna cover the spread. I think they win by maybe 7, 10, around there. But I think they handle the business for sure on Monday, and it's probably gonna be pretty boring in my opinion. So that's my prediction for that one.
I can see it being boring for sure. I mean, I hate to say that on a Monday night game, but I don't know. I just Steelers and the Dolphins. I just think it would probably be boring.
I think we're going to see how desperate both these teams are. You got, Mike McDaniel was obviously, Mike Tomlin, but the Dolphins were pretty desperate before him, the head coach, and the quarterback get fired. And Steelers obviously are just always have high expectations. So I think this is going to be a desperation game. I think both these teams really try to come out here and get a dub.
Yeah, no, I agree. And looking at it, looks like we all think the Steelers are going to get the dub. So we'll see if we're seeing the field. Obviously, let's see if Allan continues his streak, going undefeated with all his picks.
We'll see, man.
Which is
Something's
insane.
got to give, man. Something's got to give.
Seriously.
So I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe it's going to give because now that I'm tailing all your bets, now it's going to give. It's like the one time I tail it, it's not going to happen. Like the freaking four-leg parlay with the 100 receiving yards.
I think that happens again that happens again this Sunday. I think it's gonna be high score.
Do you already have those 4 receivers?
I'll put Jefferson in there. George Pickens.
Okay. Pickens, Jefferson, over 100.
DK.
And
Ooh.
Pickens.
And Jamar Chase.
Good God Almighty, those were 400. Okay, we'll see.
All over 100.
We'll see.
All right.
Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, DK, and
Pickens.
what's the last one? And Pickens.
All right.
All for 100 plus.
Tune in.
It's either gonna be Pickens or CD. If you want to play it twice and just put one or the other.
One or the other.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's gonna be one of them.
All
I think with
right.
CD concussion, I don't know how he's gonna feel. He might be better by the time it comes, but I think enough people are talking smack about Pickens that he's like, all right, let me show you guys the reason why I was doing what I was doing before. So I think he turns back up.
He still has to get paid too after this year. Still needs to get paid.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. All right. Well, tune in. We'll see what happens. Let's go Panthers, baby. Let's keep winning some more games. Falcons beat the Bucks. You guys tune into the bet leveling. You guys got to watch that. Subscribe if you want to make some money, get really into some bets. And that will be it for tonight's show. I salute y'all. I appreciate y'all's time. Appreciate y'all tuning in. And it's a good time for the dogs to start barking. I love that. Bro. Motherfucker,
Hey,
dude.
what do y'all think, Jason?
And that'll be it. All right. You guys tune in next week.
Yes, sir.
Chase the money, chase the money.